All right. I'm here with my good lifetime friend, Cory Beaird. We've known each other since the second grade. And Cory, I'm going to say something. You
That's
tell me
correct.
if this makes sense to you. I remember, we were first homies in second grade. We went to different elementary, middle schools after that. And we linked back up in high school. And we actually linked back up in a PE
Where'd you
class.
go, Lindero?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were at YB?
I was at, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. And I remember when we linked back up in high school, freshman PE class, we were kind of like buddies in PE and we would like do stuff together and kind of like, talk about our mile times and whatnot. Right.
Yeah, Rosenthal's class, is that what it was?
Whammy.
Yeah.
And what I remember like so much was like, and also playing football with you and wrestling with you, the way that you would love to like express yourself with your body through like these sort of feats of speed and quickness and agility and athleticism, right? It was no secret that you were really fast and really athletic, right? Which is even why like Coach Wager liked to deploy you as a receiver all the time, right? I remember it was something where it's like, yeah, you're gonna have Cory Beaird catch this ball. I remember, and I remember,
I don't know that I played all that much, but I enjoyed being on the football team.
but there were times where it was like
There were moments, sure.
where the coaches would see your preternatural athleticism and be like, man, what if we could just get him to fit in the circus, right? Like get him to catch this ball on this route, or get him to like, or even with like wrestling, like I know sometimes it was tough for all of us, right, to deal with like this sort of psychological demands. But
I
that being
mean,
said,
in wrestling, I always felt more comfortable. It was just more dynamic. It's you, it's one-on-one.
yeah,
It's all about how you can perform in this, it's a chess game between 2 bodies.
sure. And you don't have to deal with like coordinating with a whole mess of other people like in football. By the same token, perhaps there's more. There can be more of a sense of pressure, of internal pressure. Right?
Sure.
But all that being said, you've always been athletic, rambunctious, expressive, acrobatic. Like this is just like your person. And I
It's
remember, like
it's a
we
it's
were.
a it's a part of my being.
It is who you are. And I remember we'd go to the beach and we'd play, or we'd like skimboard and stuff. And like you were always just pushing the envelope of like what tricks you could do on the skimboard. I didn't even fucking know you could surf on a skimboard. Sure enough, one summer you're like catching waves on the skimboard, and I'm like, what is even happening here? But
Some good days
that's
back then.
good days. All that having been said, we got started some months back. You had an ACL injury, and you're like, yeah, I'd really like to start to rehab this. You'd already done 2 months or so of physical therapy, and you weren't getting the results you wanted there. Talk to me
No,
about.
you yeah, it just felt like it was very slow and it was very cautious, which I appreciated at first because at that point, I was at a place where I didn't trust the joint. It felt like it could buckle at any moment in like dynamic situations, heavy lifting or like trying to move fast. I just didn't trust it. So
Yeah,
at first that PT seemed fine. It was very cautious and very, a lot of stretching, a lot of basic little movements and very delicate things. And then it was like, I don't feel like this is enough. I don't think this is going anywhere. I need more if I'm going to get stronger and this is going to get better. I need it to happen. I didn't want it to take 100 years. I knew had to be a way. And to be honest, I don't remember how. I think we were just talking, right? We were just catching up and I was telling you about what I was going through. And you were like, hey, I think I have something for you. Right. And I was kind of expressing my dissatisfaction with the pace at which I was recovering or not really even recovering.
you still had pain, as you told me, you still it's the knee.
But that's another thing is I had all kinds of pain, which I actually until you just said that, I couldn't sleep at night because I couldn't find a comfortable position where my knee didn't hurt. And it was
Yeah,
this
yeah,
dull, just aching, and it wasn't like it was inside the center of the joint
yeah,
where it was like confusing as to what's even the problem. I'm sure it was all kinds of inflammation and arthritis that developed over it was probably 4 years that I didn't deal with the problem since I first noticed it, you
yeah.
know? So there's all this irregular movement because the ACL is not doing its job, and it created probably cartilage loss and arthritis and all kinds of things, which I
And
thought was gonna be a permanent part of my life, which is it's just gonna be painful forever. And I was like, okay, and I was learning to just accept that.
I remember you sent me the imaging reports, and what we got was like mucoid infiltration of that ligament, which means
After the MRI and
yeah.
the ortho like analysis.
And so the quality of the ligament itself was degraded, right? Is what that
Sure.
effectively means, right? And so, but when we got started, we started you on kind of the same stuff that I do for all my other clients in terms of like, they're mostly combat sport athletes or jujitsu athletes or military law enforcement, first responders. But your job as a grip, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but like it can call on you to do some tremendous things in terms of like not necessarily always demonstrating athleticism, but there's a tremendous physical toll that it can take on your body. Is that correct?
Totally. I mean, sometimes it's very athletic movement. Sometimes it's just, I mean, just a big strain, somewhat dynamic movements and just lifting and moving gear and yeah, it can really take a toll on you. The worst thing is just standing still. That kills me.
Yeah,
But it can be very athletic movements that are like,
sure.
you know, running with a rickshaw and sliding to a stop with perfectly on a mark, but I can't think about it just has to do its job and has to be there.
Yeah,
And it's like a, very high intensity athletic kind of act movement,
yeah. And
which
so,
I love to do because that's kind of the funner part of my job a lot of the time. So it's like I'm certainly not don't want to hand that off to the hey, can the young kid come in and do this move for me because I can't fucking do it like
and that's the other point is you're now we're in our 40s. And
yeah,
and so when a couple months into it, you were kind of singing my praises early on. You're like, James, like my knee is starting to really feel better. It feels a lot more stable. I was like, okay, cool. Like, and then you sent me that clip of you doing what you just described, right?
which
Where
6 months ago that was not going to happen. There was no way I was going to even try to do that. I would have said I don't think that's how we're going to do it.
I mean, it's impressive for somebody 20 years younger. Just looking at it, like wow. And I think you even told me that like one of your bosses exclaimed, like, I'd never seen something like that on set before from a grip.
I mean, that exact example is not the most impressive thing in the world, but it's like
Yeah.
a lot of people were acting that day like they had never seen it before. And it was like, I mean, if you want to get crazy with the camera, let's do some crazy stuff. Let's get,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a kind of a fun, kind of dynamic, unique little thing to do and be able to show them what I can do. And I was really proud to be able to have the capability that day to do it
Yeah.
and really make an impression on the DP and some of the director and some of the people that were there that were like trying to get this really dynamic shot. And it was like, we can make this really easy. Watch this, bam, and do it. And it was cool to feel comfortable and trust my leg and know that I could do that over and over and over. I didn't do it once. We did stuff like that over and over again for like 10 hours.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like I did it one time. I
And the
did it
knee held
a
up
bunch
and
of times.
it didn't hurt.
Not ever the entire day. In fact, I never thought about the injury until we talked about it, and I showed you that video because I wanted to just share with you just, like, how I was feeling, and you were like, "Well, did you have any pain?" I was like, "Absolutely not. I did not have any pain the entire time."
Yeah.
Over a full day of very dynamic running and stopping and sliding and.
Super exciting. And I know like you're, you have quite a bit left of work you want to do in this field before you retire, I'd imagine, right? And like while you can, I know this is something that's important to you, but there's to be able to perform this way and do these extraordinary things, this makes the job fun for you. It doesn't just like add to your sort of prestige, but I know beyond that, there's other stuff you want to do. Like, you've talked about going on hikes, you've talked about getting back into running, you've talked about getting back into skimboarding and stunting on the skimboard again and doing all that kind of cool and crazy stuff. So let me just ask you this, like before we started on this thing, right? on this strength training routine again that's mostly geared towards first responders, combat sport athletes, which I think kind of dovetails well, for you and the kind of person you are and your job and how active you are, right? And the kind of stresses and the chaos that your body, is exposed to, whether at work or at play. But before we started on this thing, did you think that you'd get anything like this in terms of result? Honestly.
Well, like I said earlier, I was beginning to accept that I was gonna be in pain for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
and it was gonna be like that. And I was also accepting that, like, you know, I'm gonna have to start letting go of certain activities, and I'm gonna start have to think about different ways to do my job because I'm afraid of what I can't do anymore. So no, I didn't think that I would have these results ever, much less in the time frame that we've seen real results happen. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think they were ever coming. And then you quickly showed me that that was not the case. In fact, we're gonna we're gonna surpass what you thought you could do, and we're gonna do more than you were doing in your 30s, but you're gonna be in your 50s. You know, and like you said, like I have a lot of years to go. I got about maybe 20 years to go in the business if I'm going to reach full retirement or whatever, right? In local 80. And that's a good amount of time. I've been in 23 years now. And to think that I'm going to go 20 more from here is a lot, considering the other 23 behind me were from age 19 to now.
Yeah.
If those were hard, these next 20, it's time to get in shape and time to get strong and crank away. Not that I'll be doing them at the same pace, but it's not just about, enduring to the end. It's about enjoying the path. It's about
Mm.
enjoying the journey the whole way, which I think this is I have such a different outlook than I did 6 months ago, 7 months ago about what that looks like because of the results I've seen in just a few months. And
Another.
besides work is also like all the other activities. Like I enjoy running. I used to enjoy running.
Yeah.
And then I started really not enjoying it. And it's time to enjoy that again. And enjoy hiking, which is a big part of my life. I've done, you know, many thousands of miles on the trails, and it's some of the best times of my life. Backpacking or just hiking and skimboarding and all these things that we were talking about.
Absolutely. And so that makes me feel super good, like to know like we're getting you on the path to be able to do all this shit that you love. And that's such a big part of who you are. But beyond that, here's something that I've been really excited about. And you tell me about this. So like you've expressed so much enthusiasm for just getting in the gym and doing this thing that so many other people just gripe and moan and cry about. But let's like, it's 3 days a week, right? It literally, what are we taking 6 to 7 hours of your time total,
Right.
like
Right.
counting the commute, right, per week. And it seems like you're really enjoying the process of getting stronger, not just because like of the intrinsic enjoyment that comes from it. You've talked about this, about how it like sets you up to feel like super good for your day. You're in a better mood, right? You're focused, you're clear at work, but also like there's the intrinsic enjoyment of doing it, of being in the process, of doing the work. I mean, we worked out in high school and you worked out, oftentimes and you enjoyed it. But did you ever think that like you'd enjoy it this much? Like, cause you seem to be just loving it. You seem to be like really in love with the process of growth now with this thing.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna pretend like I don't moan and gripe. And it's always the beforehand.
Yeah.
It's about getting there. And it's like there's this mental hurdle to get your ass up and get in the gym and do it.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, every single time it doesn't go away, maybe, or maybe it does. It's not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's always the battle of getting there is tough, and it still is for me. But once I get there, it's like, what the hell was I bumming on? Like, this is great. I love being here, and I love spending time. it's when I don't have the time that I get frustrated
Yeah.
because I want the time to do it. And because if I have the time to not rush through a workout, if I can be there, it's like, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to do every rep. I'm going to do X, I'm going to push myself because I got the time. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to set myself up right. And I start just feeling like this is a place I love being. It's almost like it's a totally different mentality, but it has a similar good feeling. It's like once I get out on the trail and it's like the sun is coming up and I'm
Yeah.
cruising on the trail and I already got feet on the dirt. And it's just like, yes, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is, and it's that feeling, and it, especially if you start the day like that, it's like you set the tone for the whole day, especially if I can get in before work and I have that
Yeah.
time. It's like you set the tone for the whole day and it becomes this like brain chemical thing that just I get juiced up for the whole day.
Yeah.
Like I get jacked up mentally, and it's
Awesome.
like a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
I'm overstating like what that is because getting in there daily is sometimes hard to. I have a hard time motivating myself sometimes, but once I'm there, dude, it's like I'm jacked up mentally, just like let's go.
Yeah. And it's just been really just awesome for me to see. And the other
Did I
piece that
answer your question or
you
did?
absolutely did.
Oh,
And
okay.
I love hearing this from you because like, in terms of my own experience with this thing is like, first of all, I can attest to the fact that the resistance doesn't ever go away. Right. So I
Well,
like
no,
this past these past couple weeks and stuff, since I moved, I've been arguing with myself about my workouts. I'm like, maybe I can take this part away and, dial this aspect back. And like it gets to a point where I'm taking so much away from it, because I didn't sleep well last night and I got this excuse and that reason. But because I'm not honoring the letter of the workout, which has a function of like fatiguing me sufficiently to actually regularize my mood, my circadian rhythm, right? My quality of sleep, my deep sleep.
it helps me sleep. That's another thing. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. But when I make excuses personally and I take these little pieces away because I'm stressed out, no, 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 no. Things conditions aren't optimal. Guess what? That next day, conditions aren't optimal again because I didn't do all the things I was supposed to do.
Exactly. It's like you're trying to save yourself some grief, but you're really creating more.
Exactly. Right.
It's like, oh, if I could just rest because time is the biggest issue in my life. Lack of free time. I spend a lot of time working.
Yeah.
And it's like easy for me to justify, I haven't had any free time. I just need to rest. It's like, well, I don't operate really well on the not a lot of sleep, but not that I'm condoning like give up sleep for working out. It's like there's a balance there in everything. But it's like a lot of the time I use it to justify when I really shouldn't be. And it just creates a snowball effect of when you get used to saying no, then
Yeah.
you get good at it.
Yeah.
And then you're a wiener. You know what I mean? And it's like you just become it makes you weaker
100%.
because the more you practice being weak, the better you get at it.
Yeah. And really, I think the most insightful thing is like, what you mentioned, like you feel the experience ahead of time. You're like kind of on this moment of indecision, right? You're experiencing the dizziness of your freedom. You realize, I don't have to, I'm the only one who decides. But then you push through the resistance. And that I think is where the magic really happens.
Yeah, there's a whole mental game there. It's especially when you don't want to, when you
Yeah.
push through that you get stronger.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother non-physical muscle that you have to work out alongside and right in step with the physical body.
Well, and that's why I think you're not overplaying it when you say like it's a spiritual experience, right? You are
Right.
you are literally willing the physical form and conditions of your life to be better. to be stronger, right?
You have to deny the self, you have to learn to lose, however you wanna say it,
Yeah.
and give up what you want right now for what you know is right that will help you ultimately in the long run,
Yeah.
and not even that far forward, like,
Yeah. Just
literally,
tomorrow. Even just
like,
tomorrow.
how about an hour from now when you're done with
Yeah.
your workout?
Yeah.
When you didn't whine and stay in bed, you got up and got out of bed, and now you're like, feel like $1,000,000 instead of, "I shoulda done that," like, you know? Totally. It's about an hour in front of you. It's not even although to
Dude.
build and get stronger and do all these things, it takes, weeks or months or whatever, and you gotta stick to it, and the consistency is what really, really counts, which means you have to consistently say no when you don't feel like it. You say no to that feeling. You say no to your feelings
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're liars,
Liars. Biggest liars in the world.
dirty
Right.
liars.
It's funny too, and I'll share this because there was some weeks back, I had scheduled a max effort Zercher squat workout. That was like the first thing I would do. And it was like, oh, I'm gonna work up to 435 pounds today. And I'm gonna try and rep this out and get a PR with it. Even though like it's like one was the minimum rep, but like I could go as high as 4 or 5, whatever. And I remember thinking like, damn, I didn't sleep well. I'm starting to feel a little stuffy. Like my Garmin says my HRV isn't good. And I was like, you know what, man? Fuck all that. Just go and do it. And I went and did it. And I hit a 5 rep max on that 435-pound Zercher squat. I almost passed out on that final rep. Like if you see me straining, I'm just like literally like about to shit my pants, fucking eyes bulging out of my sockets, like, pretty graphic, gnarly shit. But when I was done and I wasn't dead, I was like, dude, I feel so fucking good about myself because I pushed myself to do this fucking thing and I'm hitting PRs on heavy ass weight and I'm this old. Hell yes. You know,
Yeah, dude.
like hell
On a
yes.
day where you're like, "I'm not gonna do it."
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Yeah,
Feelings are fucking liars, right? At the end of the day,
feelings.
right?
Well, they're true,
Yeah.
but they don't get to decide our behavior.
Yeah.
They exist, they're there. I
Sure.
do feel like that, but you're not on the committee for deciding, you're not on the activities coordination, sorry.
Ver- ver-
You're on you're on the observational entertainment slash let's talk about it, but you're not on the decision-making squad at all. Sorry. Not
Corey, man,
sorry.
I'm so really like just genuinely excited, like your progress for how things are going for you. I think you live it, and this is kind of like the vision that I want to put out there. And this is who my service is for. It's for people who like aren't going to make these excuses, who realize like, okay, I'm only getting older. That's why I need to put more effort into something like this, and that's why I deserve it. This is why my kids deserve it. This is why my family deserves it. This is why the people I work with deserve it because they deserve the best
Right.
version of me. I deserve the best version of myself, right?
Yeah, it's not it's I do deserve it, but it's not just me, you're right. It's about everyone and everything around me, especially my children. I wanna be able to run around with them, I wanna be able to go to the beach, I wanna be able to do a backflip off the edge of the pool in the pool with them, I wanna be able to wrestle. If my son wants to continue doing jujitsu or whatever, I wanna be able to, you know, roll around with him and not worry that my knee's gonna disintegrate and I can't work, and then, I wanna be able to do these things without second thought, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Super hyped, dude. So, last thing I'll ask you, there may be people who have watched a clip of this. Maybe they've watched this whole long form that we've done right here.
Sure.
And maybe they're on the fence and they're thinking, like, oh, I want to start with a structured program. Maybe they want to reach out to me. Maybe they want to reach out to somebody else. It doesn't matter, right? Ultimately, the point is like, part of the reason we're making this content is to help other people to sort of catch the bug and to like really get invested and enthusiastic and excited about like taking better care of their bodies and working out hard and doing these vigorous things. Like, you've shown so much enthusiasm and excitement, and I think it's contagious. We want to get it out there to the world. Like, what would you say to these people who are kind of like hesitating, who are afraid, who are in this place that's kind of like, just like we're talking about, like before the workout, and we're like, am I going to do it? Am I not? Right? these people who haven't started yet, but know that they could use the help, but are or maybe scared and need the courage, what would you say to them?
Dude, I never had a gym membership in my entire life until we started this because it was, super that's the way to do it for this program.
Yeah,
And you know what? I was nervous. I was kind of scared because like I'm not a gym guy. I mean, I worked out and had sports and things in high school, but I hadn't, in 20 years. And I just stayed in shape by doing my things and doing my job. But my point is that I was really nervous and felt really overwhelmed and kind of scared to start a program and be like, I just don't know, and I would also ask them, what are you scared of? Exactly.
yeah.
What exactly are you scared of? It One thing that scared me, I was afraid of how much time it would take. That's not a real issue. You can always make time to go to the gym and get a workout in your lifetime. What are you scared of that you're going to go to the gym and it's going to be awkward or weird? Get over that. Just let go of that. It's time to get healthy and get strong and do your thing. And you've shown me everything I need to know to get in and get my program done and do it the way it's supposed to be done. I trusted you, James. I think I was nervous and kind of worried about how it was going to go, and I don't know. I guess uncertainty kind of creates fear.
Yeah.
But you were very helpful in the way that it was like you're watching what I'm doing because I'm showing you all my sets and all these things. You're so communicative in the way that's clear and helpful, and you're just like on the ball with everything that I'm doing. Your program is spelled out so clearly and thoroughly that it was like I didn't have a lot of thinking to do, so can't be scared of that I have to think too much. I mean, that fear was gone. And then it's like, what else could you really be afraid of or nervous about? It's worth the time to get healthy and increase your quality of life through doing a program that's going to make you strong and able to do the things you want to do and to be healthy and extend your life. But it's like, what else is there to be scared of? I'm not even sure. But jump in. It's worth the work. It's good for you mentally and physically. It improves your every single day attitude when you get into the gym. And it's just like there's so many benefits that it's an easy choice. And I totally understand when somebody's apprehensive or feeling nervous or scared to start a big program. It feels overwhelming. But like you only do one workout at a time. You do one rep at a time and one workout at a time. And when you can't do it, you adjust. And that's the beauty of what you have going on. It's very you've really
Adaptive.
customized it. You've really customized it to me and what I need, and that's been so helpful. And there were times where it's like, maybe I can't do this. Maybe I can't do the program. You're like, well, let's shift gears and let's do it like this. So you like remove that fear of like, maybe this doesn't work for me, but you've made it so customizable and so tailored to me that it was so, you know, I have zero excuses not to continue and based on the results there's like there's no fear to be had.
Dude, exciting stuff. I'm hyped for when you get back to that skimboard, dude. I wanna see some slick tricks on that thing.
Yeah, dude.
It'll
I
be
don't
really
think we're very far away from that.
Yeah, I think we're pretty close, and we still haven't even started you on a running program yet, and I'm excited to,
I'm
like,
ready
get
to get going on that too. I've been doing, a little jogging. I've been on the treadmill a little bit, and I've been
Yeah,
jogging, but I haven't gone very far or very extensive or very high pace. But I think it's time. I'm ready to get into that, and I'm excited for that because I love.
absolutely, and, my certifications, like, I'm one of maybe less than 100 people on the face of the planet to get the hybrid master course cert, which is like it's all about like combining lifting with running with swimming, like just doing the widest range of things imaginable that you can do athletically. And I'm about to level up to the level 2 version of that cert here. So I should have some really fantastic running workouts for you. The progress should be awesome.
Love
It should
that.
feel the run should feel refreshing and easy and hard, but like, you should get done with it and be like, "Oh, that's all? It felt good, but that's all?" And you'll watch yourself progress and get faster. So I'm really hyped to be able to deploy that with you because
Yeah.
I know you're gonna own it, and like you're gonna like who knows, maybe we're gonna see you running like an 18-minute 5K at the end of
We'll
that, you know?
see.
So, Corey, dude, I'm so happy that you've
Thank
been
you,
doing so
James.
well.
I have nothing but gratitude for you. I really
Dude,
think that
it's
you've
been
you've
awesome.
helped me out a lot, and I just appreciate the way you do things because it's really been helpful for me.
I'm super stoked to hear that. Let's I'm excited for people to get to watch this too, because I think it'll start to turn some minds. So
I hope
thank
it's encouraging for somebody, but this is just literally just facts. I mean, it's just
yeah,
what I've seen. I'm
for
just talking
sure.
about what I've seen and experienced. So I hope it encourages somebody and gets, more people into getting healthy and making a difference in their life because that's what's happened here.
Absolutely. Thanks again, brother. I really appreciate your time.
Love you, man. Thank
Love you
you. I
too.
appreciate your time.